wave upstairs if you can hear me. I can see you. Hi there. Okay, there we go. Well, I do want to welcome everyone to our birthday party. Does everyone know how old we are? 100. 100, that's right. We're so excited all year to be celebrating the fact that it was 100 years ago that Dr. Harry Wegeforth heard the roar of a lion in Balboa Park that started him on his path to creating this zoo. Now that roar still echoes today because from that one zoo and one roar we've grown into an organization that saves species every day and is leading the fight against extinction. You all are a big part of that, and I invite you to roar with us for the next 100 years as well. So on our tour today, we'll be covering around 65% of the zoo. A few areas you want to make sure you get into by foot. One is the Lost Forest up here to the right. That's where we have a lot of primates. We have gorillas, orangutans, and bonobos up there. And we have a baby of each of those. So you definitely want to head up to see the baby great apes.
Look at this Austin Powers maneuver.
See lots of monkeys over there on Monkey Trail. Albert's Restaurant is up there, tree tops as well. So make sure you head up into the Lost Forest. There's several other ways to get there as well. If you look on your map, it's a great idea to have your map handy as we're going around. I do want to point out things like this red circle with the number 4 in. That's a map locator. And so when you're looking around to see where you are, check out the map locator on your map and in the area near you. You'll probably find out where you are. The Backus map also has all sorts of great information about all the things going on throughout the day. The Innkeeper Talks, the events, the Wegeforth Bowl Centennial Celebration. So keep that map handy. It will help you all day. I do want to point out our greeting committee on the right here. This is our flamboyance of Caribbean flamingos. We were the first zoo to think about putting a colorful group of birds in the front of our zoo. And we did that in the 1950s. Many other zoos followed suit. And shortly after that, there was a company on the East Coast that started making little plastic pink flamingos for your front lawn. If you had anything to do with that. Straight ahead of us past the exit sign here is Discovery Outpost. That's where you'll need to head for the children's zoo, the petting paddock, the insect house, lots of reptiles, as well as the 4D theater showing Rio. One of the 2 terminals will be overhead Skyfari ride. And the Wegeforth Bowl. That's where we have 2 centennial celebrations today. One is at 11:30 and one is at 3 o'clock. So I'm going to try to encourage this very fancy peacock out of my way. These guys are in full spring regalia, and he's trying to show the peahen there that he's a big fancy guy, but he's in my way. Come on, guys, move. Move. Oh. Okay, it's not going to happen. Is there any guards around or anything? Yep. Okay, well, and I'll inch forward a little.
There he goes.
There we go. Encourage him to move. Keep moving, buddy. There you go. Okay, now I just have to watch out for the peahen on the other side. Oh my goodness. Isn't spring wonderful, folks? Okay. There we go. We made it through. So yay. So anyway, Discovery Outpost is over there. Whoops, someone dropped something. Past the exit sign there. Does anyone need to get something that dropped? You can go ahead and do that before it goes any further. Okay. Good. Okay. Now let's go on our tour, folks. It's a fun beginning. Let's see what happens as we go around. Now, I just want to ask you to keep all body parts inside the bus for your safety, and feel free to stand up to get a better view of animals when we stop to check them out. Just I ask you to keep your feet on the floor of the bus, not the seats, and always hold on to a handrail. Well, my first visit to the San Diego Zoo was in the 1970s. I was in college majoring in animal behavior with the goal of graduating to work at a zoo, but you know, life takes you in different directions. Took me many years, but yay, here I am, working for the world famous San Diego Zoo, and I couldn't be more thrilled. I do remember being so impressed back in the 70s with the open design of the enclosures here at the zoo. You know, a lot of zoos just have bars to the animals, but San Diego Zoo pioneered a lot of ways of having the open enclosures that sort of look like the animals aren't even contained. But believe me, they are. zoo planners from all around the world have come here to look at the way we've done it. And from an animal behavior perspective, it's great. The animals get to do natural behaviors and instincts. The enclosures are designed like their homes would be in the wild, so it's a win-win all around. Great thing for the animal welfare. So if you look to the right here, you can see this is a Malayan tiger enclosure. Look how coolly it's designed with the multiple levels. And up on the top right, as I pull forward, you get to about where I am, you will see one of the 3 tigers in there. He's snoozing in the upper right corner. So I'll just pull ahead slowly so everyone can see the tiger. Now these are Malayan tigers. They are endangered. That means their numbers are so low in the wild they could go extinct in the near future without the conservation effort for human beings. And the cool story about these guys, there's 3 of them in there, so when you're walking my tiger trail later, you'll have other viewpoints to be able to see the tigers. And the cool story of these tigers is their mother was a wild rescue. She came to us from Malaysia. Now she got herself a little too close to human beings over there in those forests, which is usually a problem for the tiger. You know, they don't always fare well in that little argument, but we said, oh, we need her over here. We have a captive breeding program here, or match.com for our tigers, which means if she came from the wild and brought very good genetic diversity to the program, she would really have helped out healthy offspring. So Mick came over here. She had a number of litters, including Connor, the one you'll see by himself back there, and Chinta and Barani, the 2 brothers you'll see together. And we're really happy that she was able to help out her endangered species. So if you look in to the right, I think in the middle of the pool I saw the heads of 2 hippos, or heads of a hippo. This is the river hippo enclosure. Cool, but before we go any further, I also want to point out, sort of near the back of the bus, under the trees in the shadows, you can see 2 animals, brown animals with stripy rear ends. You might get to see them under there. They're tricky to see in the shadows, but these are okapi from the Congo rainforest of Central Africa. So when you're on Hippo Trail later on, make sure you check out the okapi, a very shy and elusive animal we didn't even know existed until the early 19th century. But back to hippos, looks like up there he is. This is Otis. He's standing on a rock in the middle of the pool so that he can breathe, because hippos can't swim or float, and they have to kind of just stand in the shallow areas where they can have their ears, eyes, and nostrils above the water. So I see his legs and his body and a little bit of his back. So it's cool that they're designed that way so that they can be almost fully submerged but still know what's going on around them. I'm not sure I think I see his back, I'm not sure I see his face, so he's holding his breath there, obviously. But when you come back here to the river hippo exhibit, you'll see him either on the beach or in the shallow end or tiptoeing around the deep end. Now, it's really cool to see. He's a 4,000-pound animal. It's really cool to see him acting like a graceful ballerina as he tiptoes on the bottom of the pool. So come back and stand by that plexiglass pool. You won't be disappointed. But you know, you wouldn't want to come across a hippo like Otis in the wild. They're actually one of the most dangerous animals on the planet. You know, we normally think of the carnivores, or lions and tigers, but nope. Hippos are really, really big. They're really, really territorial. They have that huge jaw with like 6-inch long canine teeth. They can chomp a crocodile in half in one bite. So you just want to give them a good berth if you happen to be near them in the wild. Okay, look on the right. The rope is running at one of our adolescent swamp monkeys there. He's on the rope, and underneath this shelter is another swamp monkey. So we have, in addition to swamp monkeys here, there's 2 ones are playing, the 2 young ones there on the right. In addition to swamp monkeys, we have spot-nosed guenons in here as well. I'm not sure I see any of them right now.
You see that one on the right?
Look, on the little platform there, there's a tiny baby that was just born at the beginning of February. Oh, I've never seen that baby venture that far from mom. It must be getting older, but how cute. I'll pull ahead to have a look at the little baby swamp monkey. So you get the mom, a baby, and 2 young ones all playing together in the middle there. You don't even need to see anything else today, folks. There's a bit. But when you do come back here, there is another species of monkey in here called spot-nosed guenons. And there's also spot-necked otters in here. 3 species in one area. Now, that makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? Because in the wild, animals are always interacting with other species. So we do it wherever we can here at the zoo, and again, it helps that natural animal behavior. So as you walk around the zoo today, see how many enclosures you can find that have more than 1 species in them. It's a way that we get them enrichment, social enrichment. Now, for the welfare of the animals, enrichment is really important to us here at the zoo, and there's a number of ways that we enrich our animals' lives. Social enrichment is one. The type of food they get, the special treats once or twice a week, special toys. So I'll talk a little bit about that as we go around today. We do have a multi-species here on our left. This is our marsh bird exhibit, and I can't see that the main residents are not out right now. There's two saddle-billed storks that are really beautiful. A little further up you see the great white pelicans. But what you'll notice in both these areas is, especially a little later in the day, you'll see there's a blue heron there, you'll see white egrets. Those are local San Diego birds. These guys have got a good thing going. They're like, let's fly into the zoo, we'll hang out with our exotic friends, we'll eat some free food, and we'll impress all the guests, and then we'll fly home. So we don't mind. They are our feathered freeloaders. So those herons and egrets add a lot of beauty to the enclosure. And now you can see we're passing by Kangaroo Express bus stop number 2 right here. With that handstand that you got to ride on our bus, you ride those kangaroo buses all day long today, folks. You just wait at one of the 4 stops around the zoo with that yellow kangaroo sign, and a bus will be along within 15 minutes to pick you up, take you to one of the other 3 stops. Great way to get around. Now that boardwalk up to our right is Eagle Trail. So head up there if you like large birds of prey like stellar sea eagles, harpy eagles, and Andean condors. So for now, we are heading up one of the hills, and as we do, you'll see a road on our right. That's a highway, that's Route 163. Sorry, on our left. If you take that 30 miles north, you get to the San Diego Zoo Safari Park. That started as our breeding facility in the 1960s, and it was kind of a cool thing. A lot of people would park at the side of the road and peer over the fence with binoculars because it was not open to the public yet. They wanted to see a glimpse of all the wild animals there. We did open in the 70s. It's about 20 times the size of the zoo, but almost half that is conservation land because, you know, we've got to make sure we're taking care of local flora and fauna here in California that are endangered and threatened. San Diego County has actually the highest number of endangered species of any county in the United States. So that helps with that conservation land up there. So if you look to the right, you're looking for stripes of the Grevy's zebras. Black and white stripes. Where are they? Usually really easy to see. Of course, they're making liars out of me. Okay, way back in the far left corner, you might catch a glimpse of one of the Grevy's. Oh, I'm right up in front here. That's why I couldn't see it. Right up in the front left, that's the other one. The Grevy zebras are the largest of the zebras. They have the thinnest stripes. And those stripes, even though they make it really easy for humans to see them, they actually make it hard for predators to see them. If you were a leopard or a lion, and you were looking at a whole herd of zebras, you actually couldn't pick out just one, because those stripes mess with the predator's vision. All they see are swirls of black and white, so they can't pick out one. It's called disruptive coloration, and they're camouflaging each other. All the way up the hill, you're going to see different African antelopes. Right now, there's some little Speaks gazelles over there on the right, with their black stripes on their sides, and the larger, lesser kudu have those white stripes on their backs. And now we're going to pull over into my polar bear parking spot. Look over to the left. I'm going to pull up and stop, and then we'll see if there are any polar bears in sight this morning. There we go. Okay. Anyone see a polar bear? Are they way around the other side, other end, far down there at all? I glanced over there. I wasn't sure I saw them on the way in.
You see the bubbling area?
Yeah. I see people standing there. There's a glass looking over, so keep looking. You might spot one. Also, don't be fooled by the fact that we have a brown polar bear in there. No, he's actually a white polar bear. He gets wet and then rolls in the mud and looks like a brown bear. So we do have 3 of them. They're all orphaned in the wild. They've grown up here in San Diego. And when you come back to Polar Bear Plunge, you won't be disappointed because you get to stand right by the pool there and watch them. And when they go in the water, it's so much fun to watch. You're good that way. So even though we're not seeing it today really well, folks, come back and see it. I will point out a few things about the enclosure. Of course, it has water because they love it. See, there's lots of plastic things floating in the water. Well, polar bears are very playful animals. So they love to play with all those plastic objects. The keepers will sometimes put treats inside, and they try to get it out. And one of the things that the large male Kaluk likes to do is play basketball on the bottom of the pool. He takes the basketball and he actually bounces it underwater. So maybe when you come back, you'll get a chance to see that. I'm going to pull ahead though, folks, and spend some time with some animals that we can see. So if you're standing up, yeah, sit down and hold on, and off we go. Gently make it back here though. As I said, lots of great stuff you can do and see here at Polar Bear Plunge. One of the things you'll learn is a little bit of a sad fact about the fact that polar bears' habitat is disappearing. Yep, climate change is causing the ice to melt up there at a really rapid rate and not reform. So they're losing their home, and they have to expend a lot of energy to get where they need to go and to hunt their seals, build their dens, to find the ice. So this is a worry for all of us who care about polar bears. But we can make a difference. We can help reduce our own emissions that are contributing to climate change by reducing our carbon footprint, the electricity we use, the fossil fuel we use. And by doing that, by reducing car trips and recycling and all those sorts of things, we can make a big difference and help save the ice of the polar bears, as well as saving energy and money. So think about it. So look to the right, you see a Garanook, graceful long-necked antelope on its hind legs with its forelegs up on the tree. These guys are really tall, but they figured out a way to be even taller by getting up on their hind legs. They're desert antelopes, and they never need to drink water if they can't find it. They get all the moisture they need from the foliage that they eat in the desert. A couple of Cuvier gazelles are next. These are mountain antelopes. See it? Now, at the top of the hill on the left, you see the western terminal of the Sky Quarry ride I mentioned at the beginning. You get unlimited one-way rides on Sky Quarry with your membership day ticket or military ID. It takes about 5 minutes to get from one side of the zoo to the other, and the other terminal's down there near the exit. Great way to get across in a hurry. Now up here we also have our 4D theater showing Ice Age No Time for Nuts. Those 4D movies are lots of fun. They run all day till 6 o'clock. And you get that cool 3D visual experience, which we're familiar with that extra added dimension of sensory experience. Okay, do we see a mountain lion on the left? I see people looking in there. Is there a mountain lion down there, folks? Maybe not. Mountain lions usually sleep a lot of the day in their caves in the front and come out later on, so make sure you're back here later on. Also at 11:30 today on the right, you want to be here for the keeper talk for the maned wolves. As I said, the back of your map shows the schedule of keeper talks all around the zoo, and that's a special thing for our play days, our spring break of the century. So it's a wonderful thing to do. You come and you go at that time and you hear what the keeper has to say. You get to see the animals up close because they're usually interacting with the keepers. And you learn something about the amazing animals we have here at the zoo. So check it out and try to include at least 1 or 2 keeper talks in your day today. You won't be disappointed. So here we are in Elephant Odyssey. This is such a great place to use your imagination. This is designed like a living museum to show us what this part of Southern California was like at the end of the last ice age. We had huge mammals roaming around here, so as you're wandering through, you'll see the life-size replicas of those mammals and some of their modern-day counterparts. Check to the right here, folks, under the tree and on the platform. These are our African lions, Etosha and Umbari. Umbari is the male. Now, we used to have American lions here, though, about 25% larger than these guys. Imagine that. But lions spend a lot of the day lying around, just like these ones. They can do that. They're a top predator. They can sleep a lot of the day, and what they usually do then is wake up as the sun is sort of going down. That's when they would normally hunt. So if you're back here later on, that's what Umbari likes to do. The male who likes to wake up and patrol his territory late in the afternoon. You might hear him roar, and that roar can be heard all around the zoo. Reminds us of how we started back in 1916 with that roar of Prince in Balboa Park that Dr. Harry heard and inspired him to start the zoo. So on the right next to the bus on the ground there, folks, this is the 3rd largest of the big cats. This is a jaguar. And it looks like Valerio, our male, a young male. In here you'll see both his mom named Deary and this little guy. I say little guy, but he's actually bigger than his mom now. He just turned 1 in March. And I'm just trying to see if his mom is around here somewhere. It's it's hard to see. You know, they do a really good job with those spots of kind of camouflaging themselves in the shade. I don't see the other one right now, but as I said, it's been great fun to see a Valerio grow up all year. Now, if you look at the enclosure, see how it's designed with the behavior of jaguars in mind. They live in the rainforest of South and Central America, so they love to climb trees. They're powerful climbers. They love to swim in the rivers. They're powerful swimmers. Look how there's water, there's trees, and it's been so fun to watch Nindiri teach Valerio all year long how to be a jaguar and have him fall out of a tree and splash around in the water. So that is our jag. If you want to see a keeper talk at 2:30 at either the jaguars or the lions, you'll get to see a lot more of these amazing cats that we have here at the zoo. Okay, let's go ahead and check out the elephants. We have a herd of 6 female elephants here. You start to see some of them up there. And they're all out and about this morning. We have 2 different species in our herd. One species we have 3 African and 3 Asian elephants. And you can see a couple of each here. Does anyone know how you tell them apart? The ears. So you can see the ones on the left there, the African elephants have those big ears. And the Asian elephant, like in the middle there, have small ears. Now, that Asian one you see there, she's married. She's the dominant female of the herd, just as it would be in the wild. She's 51 years old. She keeps all the other ladies in line. Now, the first elephants that came to our zoo were straight from India. They were Asian elephants, Empress and Queenie, that arrived here to San Diego in the mid-20s. They came by train here, and Dr. Harry and the head elephant keeper went over to pick them up at the train station. But they hadn't figured out how to get them from the train station to the zoo. And these are big animals. You can't just like throw them in the back of the truck, right? So a bit of a problem, but they realized, you know, these are Asian elephants. I'm sure they're used to being ridden. So Dr. Harry and the keeper climbed up each on one of the elephants. Neither of them had ever ridden an elephant before. But they were able to steer them pretty easily through the streets of San Diego, right here to the zoo. So they must have been quite a sight to see back in the 1920s. The elephants we have here are senior citizens. They come to retire here in care and comfort at the San Diego Zoo. And they get state-of-the-art health care in this elephant care center that we've pioneered to take care of geriatric elephants. So when you're walking by later today, you will see the elephants in these gray pens, and the keepers will be taking care of them. They get their daily physicals. The one keeper will be offering some treats. The other keeper will be checking out whatever body part is needing to be checked out. It's all positive reinforcement training that these animals get here at the zoo. That means they do a behavior, and they're rewarded. I mean, they're asked to do a behavior, and they're rewarded when they do it. And if they don't, they're never punished. But these animals are smart. They learn really quickly to do what the keepers need them to do in order to take care of them. So it's really fun to watch that going on as you're walking by. So in the wild, elephants will forage for up to 16 hours a day for their food. They need to eat about 150 pounds a day. Now, that's a heck of a lot of food, takes a lot of travel. And if you happen to live in a country where there's lots of humans, like Botswana, it can cause problems because you might actually walk through a farmer's field, you might get a little close to a village. So we're working with an organization called Elephants Without Borders over there in Botswana. And what we did is we tested special GPS tracking collars on the elephants over, in our safari park, our African elephants there. And we tested these collars that they're now using on the wild elephants in Botswana, gathering data about where those elephants are going, how they're getting there, and figuring out ways to create safe corridors so that they don't cause problems for the people that live in their neighborhood. It's just one example of how helping to solve human-wildlife conflicts is a great way to help solve the problems for animals out there in the wild, and that's a lot of things we're doing over there. So you can see there's no elephant in here right now. What you see are the keepers. We practice something called protected contact with the large animals here at the zoo. It means that the keepers and the elephants are never in the same place at the same time. It makes sense. There's always a wall between them. It's safer for the keepers, it's safer for the animals. And what they're doing, see they're raising the barrel up there? They put lots of yummy special food in the barrel from the utility. And later on, they're going to lower it down so that Ranchapur, our Asian male elephant who lives in this area, they'll have to work pretty hard to get that food out. Now, that makes a lot of sense if you're used to foraging for food a lot. You don't want to just plunk it down in front of the elephants all the time. So they put some browse here in the log. They put the treats up in the barrel, and you get to see the elephants working hard to get the food out. So you'll see that as you walk by later on, and it's great fun to see. They use their magnificent trunks, which are amazing organs of their body. Those trunks have more muscles in them than our whole human body. So they can pull down real trees, which is why you see no real trees in Elephant Odyssey there. But they also can manipulate that trunk to do all sorts of things, like pick up little bits of hay, straw, and all sorts of things. So now we are coming upon a species here in Elephant Odyssey. This species on the right survived the big extinction at the end of the last ice age, only to face it at the end of the last century. We have 3 California condors up in the middle there. These magnificent birds are members of the vulture family. They are scavengers, and they keep their habitat clean by eating dead bodies of the animals left around. Trouble for them is that in the 1980s they were facing overhunting, habitat loss, and lead poisoning by eating carcasses that have been shot by hunters with lead bullets. So their numbers had dwindled to near extinction. There were only 22 birds left in the whole world, but this is the thunderbird of Native American lore. It's very important in its habitat. We couldn't let it go extinct. So the 22 birds are brought into a captive breeding program, Match.com for condors. And the numbers are increased by a process called double clutching. That means that the female lays an egg, it's removed and incubated, and when it hatches, it's hand-raised with a condor puppet, so it won't imprint on humans. Then that female goes and lays another egg a lot more quickly than she normally would. So double the number of eggs are hatching. And thanks to practices like that, we now have over 400 condors alive in the world today from 22 just a few decades ago. Now that's something we are very proud of, but the best part of it is that we have reintroduced over 260 condors back into their habitat in California, Arizona, Mexico, and Utah. So they're back doing their job out there keeping the habitat clean. So this is just an example of one of the ways that we are saving endangered species, folks, one at a time, and leading the fight against extinction. And you can find out more about the condors or the pandas or the tigers by going to our website, clicking on the Wildlife Conservancy link, or endextinction.org, and find out how you can get involved and be a hero for wildlife. Okay, very small animals on the right here, folks. There's a couple right in the front. These are meerkats. The best way to see these little animals is to come and stand right here, but you can see a little of them from the bus. Meerkats are members of the mongoose family, and they live in family groups called mobs under the ground with a dominant female. Now they're always busy digging, playing, usually there's one up on a rock in a high place looking up into the sky, making sure there's no hawks around, keeping, guard duty. And we have 4 little ones, so it's really fun to come and just stand here and watch the whole mob doing their thing. The best way to do that is to get off at stop number 4 behind us, the kangaroo bus, stop number 4. And spend some time hanging out with those fun meerkats. I can do it for hours at a time. They're just so much fun to watch. So because we are 100 years old, as you can imagine, the zoo needs constant renovation. And we're currently doing our biggest renovation ever. It's taking away the old 1930 exhibits down Cat and Dog Canyon here, and replacing them with 9 acres of Africa rocks. It's going to be absolutely amazing. It's going to have homes and habitats for African and Madagascar species. You can see some of their pictures here on the fence. You kind of get to look down in there and see all the cool work that's going on. The cool thing is that when we renovate part of the zoo, we reuse and recycle almost all of the construction material. We also have recycle bins all around the zoo. Now, everyone knows that recycling is a good thing for the planet, right? But it wasn't until I started working here at the zoo that I realized how great it is for saving endangered species. It makes sense. The more you are reusing and recycling the same materials over and over, the fewer raw materials have to come out of the homes where animals live. So by recycling, we're actually saving endangered species. And I bet most of you on this bus are good recyclers, and you can feel good about what you are doing already. A way to complete the cycle is also to make sure you buy as many products made from those recycled materials as you can. So now we're heading into my favorite area of the zoo, the Australian outback. I grew up in Australia, so hanging out with Aussie animals is a great perk of this job. Now, as we're driving by or you're walking through this area to the right, you'll see some koalas. I can see a female way in the top right there. It's the largest colony of koalas outside of Australia in that area. 20 Queensland koalas hang out. But what you'll see most of the day is furry grey balls of fur fast asleep in the trees. Yep. Koalas sleep up to 22 hours a day. Now, the reason they do that is they eat one type of food. It's called eucalyptus. It's a food that no other animal can eat because it's toxic. But they have special bacteria to digest it. It's just that since it doesn't have a whole lot of nutrition and it's partly toxic, they need to digest it for a really long time. So they sleep a lot to conserve their energy. I'll talk a little bit more about koalas on our way out of the urban jungle. I'm going to point out the kangaroo bus, which is pulling up to stop number 1. That is the closest stop to the front of the zoo. So when you're looking for the entrance or exit, you'll get off at stop 1. It's also the closest to the unloading area for our bus if you want to head back here after the tour. And head down to stop 2 for the pandas. So here we have our animal ambassadors, the animals that were brought up to be in our education programs. We have both of our greater one-horned rhinos on the right here. The little small one standing up is 2.5-year-old Jayu. The one lying down is 3-year-old Jizan. So they're not even full grown yet. These two males just met each other last week. Actually, the first few days there was a barrier between the two of them because they wanted to make sure that they got along. But they spent so much time nuzzling each other through the barrier that we took it away and they've been inseparable ever since. Those are our greater one-horned rhinos that you saw the video about before you got on our tour. And on the left we have our Maasai giraffes, our tower of Maasai giraffes. Lots of different sizes for you. In the far corner to the right there, that's our bull giraffe. He's silver, he's 16 feet tall. You can tell him because he's darker than the others. You can put his head right in the top of this bus if he was next to it. 16 feet tall. This little girl that's heading our way she'll be 1-year-old in May. Her name is Domi Bella. Now, she was 6 feet tall when she was born and 136 pounds. That's typical baby giraffe size. But as we pull ahead, look at the little tiny one. That's little Obi. He's 3 months old. And he was really small for a baby giraffe. He was only 5'3" and 117 pounds. So I think he's gained about 2 feet. He's already over 7 feet in a couple months of growth. So he's catching up really well. And that's his mom right next to him. And the cool thing is when a baby giraffe is born, the mom gives birth standing up. She just pushes that baby out head first. It falls about 5 feet to the ground. It's like a bit of a rude awakening. But once the baby starts to breathe, it breaks the umbilical cord. And within half an hour, that little guy was up on his wobbly legs, ready to move away with his mom. If he had to, like in the wild, if there was a threat coming along. It's just amazing. So those are our tallest land mammals, folks. Lots of fun to watch and see and observe. Okay, on the left here you see Sophia Loren. She's a Mediterranean donkey, and we also have Zari, the Grant zebra, who must be out there getting a grooming right now. But when you walk by later on, you'll see the donkey and the zebra friend together. Now you'll notice that in the animals like the equine family or the hoofed stock, then they are not separated. The keepers are often in there with them, as they do not pose a danger to each other. Some more Caribbean flamingos here. These are part of our Backstage Pass program where you can feed and get really close to these guys. The Backstage Pass program happens on, I think this week is near the end of the week, and on the weekend where you can get up close and personal with some of these animal ambassadors and really learn a lot about them, train them even a little bit, feed them a little bit as well. And a lot of these, some of these animal ambassadors live in these very small enclosures here on the left. Because they are used in the Backstage Pass program, their enrichment is just that, is to be part of the program, interact with people, and they love to do it. So look on our left and you will see our buddies. We have Baka, the cheetah, and Miley, the dog. These guys are best buds. Yep, when Baka was a cub, We went to, at the Safari Park, they went to the dog rescue and they got Miley there as a puppy. And the two of them have grown up together and it's a great relationship. Because you know, dogs are very social animals, they're used to people. So when they're out doing their animal ambassador thing, the cheetah actually looks to the dog to make sure everything's okay. You know, if they're out in public, dogs are cool with it, so cheetah's cool with it. So it's great fun. You'll see a number of pairs of cheetahs and dogs. Oh, there's another pair right ahead. This looks like Ayana up on the rock there, and Honey, her Labrador. Wow, that's a great view of the cheetah, folks, on the rock there. She's actually quite young. And she's looking down over the canyon there. I wonder what she has her eye on over there. So that is our buddy system.
There's a dog there too.
It's crazy. Another view of the rhinos to our right.
Do you think they started that because of...
Also the kangaroo bus there. And as we pull up, we're going to see if we can see any of the male koalas in their trees on our left. The male koalas get their own trees because they're territorial. I can see one in kind of in the foliage here next to the pole. Well, it looks like the one second tree back there actually might be awake because I see some of the foliage moving up and down. You can't see him very well. Oh, here's one in the middle. He's awake down the bottom. Wow, this is rare, folks. You see, one in a couple hours a day, but the koalas are awake. He's not facing us.
That one's awake too, it's easy. Oh, right there.
And do we have another one? And the end here, someone's taking a photo. Yep, this one of the birds. So this is a great time of the day, folks. The keepers just put out their food, so it's one of the few times they'll be awake. And at the end of the day too, when it starts to, when the sun starts to set, that's when they're awake again. Get this guy. That's the great thing about the play days is we're open till 7 o'clock, so a lot of these animals who become more active late in the day, you get to spend more time with them. So one of the reasons we have the largest colony of koalas outside of Australia is we started all the way back in the 20s when it took a steamship over to Australia to gather Aussie animals in exchange for some American animals over there. When we got there, they found out that the Australian government was not issuing permits for koalas to leave the country. What a bummer. But the zoo people gathered other animals, got them on that steamship, just about to leave the dock, and a truck roared up with a box on it that said to the children of San Diego from the Children of Australia. And there were two koalas in there named Snugglepot and Cuddle Pie, the names of two characters from a kid's book I grew up reading in Australia. And that started our very long and successful relationship with koalas. We've been learning about them and breeding them ever since. We've had over 130 baby koalas born right here at the San Diego Zoo. And since they are marsupials or pouched mammals, that baby koala is 1 inch long when it's born. But it knows to climb from the birth canal through the fur into the pouch, and that's where it grows for the next 6 months. They're called joeys, and we have 3 recently emerged joeys in the female koala area, so look for them when you're walking in there later on. We are a non-profit organization, folks, so what that means to us is that each and every one of you is vital to what we do. It's your visit here today that's helping us take care of our plants and animals and do our education, conservation, and research work. Couldn't do it without you, and just want to thank you so much for coming to the zoo today. On our journey this morning, you've learned about what we've been up to since we began with the roar, some of the ways that we are leading the fight against extinction, and I've shared with you some of the ways you can help out by taking actions, conservation actions that help endangered species. So just by being here today and taking some of those conservation actions, you are roaring right along with us. I invite you to continue roaring with the San Diego Zoo for the next 100 years as well. Well, here we are at the end of our tour. Once again, my name is Lynn, and I've had so much fun taking you around. Thank you. Now, those of you upstairs, as soon as I pull ahead into the unloading spot, you just be patient. I'll open your gate as soon as I've unlocked down here. And if you're looking for the restroom or the front of the zoo or a stroller that you might have left behind before you got on the bus, you'll take a right after the unloading dock, after you've checked out your photo that you had taken before you got on. Now, if you want to head back to the urban jungle to catch that kangaroo bus and get down to the pandas at stop 2 before the line gets really long, that's another possibility to do. But whatever direction you take, folks, I know you're going to have an amazing adventure at the zoo today. Nice, cool weather is keeping the animals out and about. So I hope you have a great time, a wonderful adventure. I just want to thank you so much for coming on my tour. Have a great day, folks. Take care. Bye-bye.